Hello, fifth graders, and welcome to your language arts lesson for today. For today, you will need your copy of Little Women, your language arts binder, and a pencil. So if you need to pause and go get any of those things, go do so now, and then come on back. All right, fifth graders, for today, we are going to be working on identifying theme evidence. Specifically, we're going to be looking at our themes chart, which you guys have been working on as we've been going. So I've said this throughout, and I'm going to say it again. When you're done with today's work, I want to see a picture of both sides, okay? We should have a complete chart, and I'm going to expect it. And if you are submitting one that's just not a whole picture, or you only have part of it done, I'm going to send it back and ask you to make sure that you're done. So when you are done, if you've been working along with me, and those of you doing electronically, I've been telling you to make sure you save that electronic copy so you're adding to it. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 24 squares filled in. And remember, the last time we did this, we were at 18, and I would have told you then you need all 18. So now we're going to be at 24. So actually, if you're looking at today's, right, this is less than what we've been doing in the past. We're actually going to be looking at only 6. So we're going to do 3 together right now and 3 separately. So as we're looking at today's work, we're going to be going from chapters 13 to 23, which is quite a lot of places to be looking at, okay? Just kind of going through our homework questions should give you enough of an idea for how you're going to go find these quotes and page numbers as you're finding these answers, okay? So I'm going to start at chapter 13 and take us through a couple of options, and then I'll give you some hints about where I might look to find some additional quotes to support your work, and then I'll send you on your way to do your last 3, okay? So looking at chapter 13, our questions, and like as you're going through this, if you opened up your old documents, if you were able to open up those documents and look at the questions, I think that would give you hints about like, oh yeah, we answered this exact question, okay? Or, oh, this question makes me think about this theme, okay? That's a great way to save yourself time as you're looking for answers. Okay, so as I'm looking at our chapter 13, first of all, let me flip you around so that you're able to see what I'm working on and you can work along with me. All right, so this is the stuff that you guys should have done before. So we're kind of starting down here, and you'll see I wrote it in chapter 13 through 23. So I have taken a look at our chapter 13, questions. And there's this question number 6, which says, what is a quote that shows that Laurie is trying to improve his character? And then to which theme does this relate? And improving one's character, that should make us think of one theme in particular. What theme relates to sort of an improvement of one's character? Hopefully you're thinking about the importance of living a virtuous life. So I'm looking on, this is page 148 in your text. This is the chapter called Castles in the Air, when Laurie follows the girls and they're having this conversation about their dreams for the future. And Laurie at this time is really wrestling with what his grandfather is expecting of him and what he sees as his dream for his future. So looking on page 148, we see the very end of the chapter. And Laurie says, I'll let my castle go and stay with the dear old gentleman while he needs me, for I am all he has. I think this is a great example for the importance of living a virtuous life. So I'm going to write this down. I'll let my castle go and stay with the dear old gentleman. For I am all he has. And this is on page 148. And we see Laurie uses virtue for the good of others. So when we consider why is it important to be virtuous, we're considering this idea that Laurie is using his virtue for the good of others. It's good to be virtuous for other people. Okay. Okay. So we kind of looked at chapter 13 now. And remember, if I have it, you have it. So as I'm going, you should be pausing, you should be writing this down, you should have the exact same examples as I until you're on your way to your homework. Okay, so I'm looking at chapter 14 now, and there isn't a question specifically that says, to which theme does this relate? But I do see something in this chapter. Specifically, I see this question, number 6, which asks, why does Meg scold Joe? Why does Meg scold Joe? So this is on page 154 and then on to 155 in your text. So go ahead and open that up if you need to pause to join me. At the very bottom of page 154, what does Meg say to Joe? She says, "You have been running, Joe. How could you? When will you stop?" "Such romping ways," said Meg reprovingly, as she settled her cuffs and smoothed her hair, with which the wind had taken liberties. So which theme does this relate to? Meg scolding Joe for romping. Which of our themes does this relate to? Yeah, right? This societal expectations of women, right? So Meg scolds Joe for romping, which she thinks is unladylike. And our quote is, "When will you stop such romping ways?" And this is pages 154 to 155. Right? So again, this idea that women shouldn't be romping, shouldn't be running, and that Joe's kind of reached an age where she should have grown out of it, almost. Okay, so chapter 15. We're not going to talk about chapter 15, okay? But I would look there. I would look at your homework questions for chapter 15. So maybe you want to like jot down an idea down here. I think there's something in chapter 15 that might work for virtue. So just a hint I'll give you. Chapter 16 was the letters chapter, so I don't know that there was a bunch of great evidence there. Chapter 17, though, is definitely, there's a lot that you could find in chapter 17. Chapter 17, maybe again for virtue, maybe for expectations of women, but we're not going to pause there just yet. So again, these are hints I'm giving you as you're considering. So chapter 18 starts off right away with this question about what does Meg realize is more precious than what money can buy. So go ahead to page 181 in your text. What does Meg realize is more precious than what money can buy? And she says, love, protection, peace, and health, the real blessings of life. Okay. Which of our themes did we say that this related to? That was our second question for this chapter. Which theme does this relate to? This question of money and happiness, right? And this is one that's kind of important because Meg in particular has always seemed to feel that her life would be so much better. She would finally be happy. She would finally have all that she wants if she only had more money. And then we find that when Beth is sick, Meg has a different reflection, right? Meg actually finds the opposite to be true, that money can't buy certain things. Money can't buy you love. It can't buy you protection or health, peace, right? And so that those things are more important. So Meg realizes money can't buy happiness. This is kind of a pivotal quote for Meg as she's reflecting. Okay, so what does she say? She had been how rich she had been in things. We'll say more precious than than any luxuries, excuse me, money could buy. And she lists them: in love, protection, peace, and health. And this is on page 181. So 5th graders, your homework is going to be these 3 remaining squares. And remember, quotes and page numbers. Quotes and page numbers. So again, writing this down will probably help you to remember to fill those things in. So you have 3. So I've given you hints as well, but I would continue. We just looked at chapter 18. Chapter 19 has a question about Amy and why she's crying and which theme this might relate to. Chapter 20 has a question about Mrs. March telling Joe something about money and which theme does this relate to. Chapter 22 has questions about what did Mr. March tell the girls that they had succeeded in, and to which theme does this relate to? And chapter 23, I think, has lots of examples, right? This is this conversation between Aunt March and Meg about who she's going to marry and marrying for money and marrying not for money. And so thinking about, you could find evidence in this chapter as well. So I've given you a lot of hints, 5th graders, about where you might go to find evidence for these remaining pieces. So take advantage of those hints as you're considering and moving forward. As always, if you've got questions, go ahead and let me know. Good luck.